all of her words were recorded of all the things she said about Watsy. So Watsy, if you're listening,
I didn't mean it.
hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Products of Thought. I'm your host Aman HK, and I'm still at TTOX Bangalore Summer Edition at the MLR Convention Center. Why am I suddenly talking like a reporter? I'm not a reporter. I can never do that. But I'm here with a DM and an absolute wonderful person who has written a bestiary, a codex based on Indian mythos, based on. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna let her do the talking. Hi, Manmita. How are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good. So you have never read the Monster Manual?
I'm not. It's honest. Yeah, I haven't, and honestly, I've only explored the stat blocks that people find, and from there, I actually got the idea to make the Prani Codex, which is what we're going to be talking today.
Yeah. So talking about the Prani Codex, I quickly saw through all of the things that is there. First of all, what was the research that went in behind it, like, and what was the idea, like, hey, maybe I should write this, because a lot of people, they homebrew stuff. Like D&D is notoriously famous for homebrewing, because there's like, official rules, official monsters, who cares, I'm gonna make my own stuff, and it's famous for that. So what led you to this?
So one of the biggest things is I continuously DM'd every single day for a month. And one of the primary things that I realized is that, there's not a lot of moral complexity when it comes to one shots and playing with characters who really kind of want to bulldoze through the game. And I said, okay, let me get some really interesting monsters. And one place that I found that there was a very large gap in the market is monsters that are way more than monsters. I want these monsters to be living creatures that have growth and almost like a personality, you know? And that's how you get that level of moral dilemma. You get that level of, oh my God, I'm killing something with real life in it. And that's where I got the idea to make creatures that can grow, that are multidimensional, that will intelligently respond to you, right? For the Prani Codex, my primary inspiration was a few of the Indian folklore that I could get my hands on. All right. And where I got the idea of the Indian folklore is looking at the content out there on the internet for Indian campaign settings, Indian content. I didn't really find anything that really satisfied that itch of like, yes, this is really innately Indian. And I went back right back to the roots. I went to the little traditions, the stories that your grandmothers would tell you, the stories that you hear amongst the crowd, and folklore, lore by people, made for the people, by the people. And I thought this is such a great place. So I spent about a month and a half. Doesn't do it justice, but a month and a half looking into a few of the creatures I could find. Then I took a couple features from those multiple creatures, mashed them into one delicious homebrew creature, and now you have the Prani Codex.
So it's not like, okay, this is a one-to-one representation of that folklore. This is, I would say, it's not bastardizing that original folklore or that original thing.
One of the biggest challenges in the rudimentary stages of this project was how do you give credit to folklore and how do we stop reflavoring monsters? I mean, you can't just take a snake and reflavor it into a naga. That really is very flat. It really flattens the creature. And I said, let's take it, let me make this creature really mine so that it feels like something brand new. So no, we're not trying to flatten our creatures into 2D objects on our table. We're trying to turn them into multi-dimensional beings.
And that's another thing, well, reading through, I loved, is like the one page is completely dedicated to the origins of the monster. It's completely dedicated to how that particular beast or monster came to be, what was the history. It almost reads like a short story that is there. So you are a proper short story writer in this regards as well. And uh, coming to the stat block, then actually coming to, okay, this is what the monster is. And after that, one of the best things that I have seen yet, and like, I'm not even kidding, is adventure hooks related to the monster and the creature's purpose or the rumors of the creature. So is it all a way to make it more fleshed out, make it more 3D in nature?
So yes, number one, it is to make it multi-dimensional. It is also, so it actually serves two purposes. The purpose number one is to give experienced DMs a sort of innate understanding of what really is this creature, where does it come from, what does it desire, okay, where could you encounter it, you know. So that's one. And number two is to look back at my past self and say, as a newbie DM, when I first encountered the Monster Manual or monsters online that people have homebrewed, what is it that I really wanted? And I think one of the first questions I had to ask myself, and I realized a lot of dungeon masters who are new ask themselves, is where can I put this creature? What do I do with it? Do I just make my players fight it? And this is a solution to that. It's to give them almost a nudge in the right direction. It's to say, you can do this with the creature and base an entire one shot off of it.
And yeah, these adventure hooks read like, and that's for each month, and that's for each monster. So like, you are getting like a bunch of one shots, like one after the other. Like you can run that for months if somebody needs to. Like they don't, and then you have an entire. Then you have the loot, which a lot of D&D players love. Like, hey, I kill that monster. What can I get? What can I loot from them? And you have so many, so many magic items listed over here. What kind of thinking went behind all of this, and did it take a lot of time?
Oh, yes, it took a lot of time. But the reason I said loot is because I was quite tired of sitting into DM sessions, sitting into player sessions, and saying the only thing they get is like gemstones and like perhaps a staff or perhaps a ring. I said, I want something that you can get out of this creature. This creature dies and leaves me this. When I carry that object with me, like a staff or a ring, I'm carrying the literal creature with me, the essence of it. And yeah, it took a lot of time, and I essentially pulled it out of the different body parts of the creature, or like the stuff of the creature itself, or the weapons of the creature itself, or the hide of the creature, the teeth of the creature, something that belonged to the creature or the creature's backstory.
Also, I'm seeing, for some there are fun facts for the monsters. For some there are rumors. For some there are where to find. Uh, so, was there a reason not to like standardize, one particular heading for all, and to keep different headings for each monster?
So there was a reason why I didn't standardize it, because the designing for each creature was quite fluid. I wanted to give you facts that felt natural to the creature. There are some places where I said, fun facts don't really make sense to this. There are some creatures, for example, that ask you riddles, that give you curses. And I said, okay, these are the only creatures that require a riddles or curses sections. The others don't really. So that's how I base my sections off of. But I decided there would be one section for adventure hooks for sure, for all of them.
That's awesome. Can we take a moment to talk about the art? You have done all the art.
Yes. All of my art.
How long did that take?
Ooh, I think per creature I took about 3 or 4 days. Yeah. All the way from the iteration process, the thumbnailing to the final. And yeah, that's
You can hear people cheering for doing her art. Uh, as far as thumbnailing and everything goes, first of all, uh, I see again with the advent of ChatGPT and Midjourney and everything. There's so much AI slop out there. So yeah, I can totally see the effort going into this. Uh, Lastly, have you play tested all of these monsters?
I have. I play tested it with people from here, people from Bangalore, and across India. And I've very recently sent the copy to a couple friends outside India who are Desi, so they're living abroad. And I also sent it to a couple people who are from the European nations. And I've only heard good until now. Let's see what the rest of them say.
Awesome. And was there, well, since you are just like a one-person team, was there a bit of consultancy involved with people from different regions? Where did you talk to them and like research about them? Like, okay, am I getting something wrong, or am I stereotyping something? Did you like talk to them and see like if it's not like offensive, or if it's not like maybe it's not actually that's what people think, but it's actually something else?
Yes. So that was a really big concern that I had, which is why I decided to go for a almost full blown homebrew. So that's why the B series inspired by Indian folklore and not drawn from. One of the biggest challenges about folklore is that each version of that folklore, it has many forms, and to go up to a group of people and say, hey, is this authentic, doesn't really make sense. And I think one of the best ways to explain writing and changing up your own folklore is a really nice paper by AK Ramanujan, which essentially states that any lore that comes out of a folklore in response to a folklore is still folklore. So in essence, I've honestly picked up my own folklore from everything.
That's that's an interesting take. I have never heard that before, but that's a really interesting way to look at it. And there is a page at the end where it talks about the creature and the folklore, where you know it can be inspired from maybe one creature of the folklore, or maybe two creatures of the folklore, and mashed together and created a third entirely different thing. What's your favorite monster in this?
Ooh, okay. If I before I get to that, um, out to the audience, if there are people who have read the folklores that I mentioned in the book, I would love to hear people coming back and telling me, hey, actually, no, this is how I've read it. Because at the moment, it is very difficult to get your hands onto uh, people who really have come from the place of the folklore or people who know the folklore by heart. So no, this project doesn't have primary research, and very openly acknowledging that it might have a lot of issues. And I want the community to come back to me and tell me I'm more than willing to make the changes. To answer your question, the Tirakan, it's a six-handed being. It's a six-handed being. It's called a Tirakan, and it is my favorite creature because it has six floating arms that can turn into bludgeons. Just you can throw it at you, and she has a stomach. She has a mouth in the place of a stomach. She's absolutely wonderful.
Okay, nightmare fuel time. Amazing, amazing. It will haunt me in my dreams.
It would haunt me in my dreams as well, and it has.
Oh my god, like okay, okay, less said the better. Because like yeah, I'm getting a lot of inspiration with these monsters. I love them. They're all pookies to me. Uh, I love them all equally. No, not really. But some yes, I do. But uh, if somebody wants to go ahead and play test this with their games to see, you know, how's it responding with their players, can they play test this at the moment?
Okay. At the moment, there are two places you can find the Prani Codex. Number one is on itch.io. So you can just look up Prani Codex and you'll find it on itch. It's free for download. Please download and play it. The other one is the Prani Codex website, which is a bit harder to find because it doesn't appear on Google searches. But please download, please play it. I would love to hear some feedback.
SEO is the bane of us all, honestly. Yeah. So yeah, itch.io is definitely some place I would recommend to find great people making great stuff. Manvita, thank you so much for talking to me. Like it was so wonderful to find out like okay, something like this is being written, produced, being drawn and everything because we see a lot of one of the first things that people when they start playing D&D in India they do is like, oh, I'm gonna make this Indian, but they homebrew it and everything, but you've actually formalized it in a book. So Prani Codex, check it out on HIO, test it out, give her the feedback, tell her if it's nice or if it's nice, it's nice.
It's bad. Tell me if it's good.
Yeah. Manvita, thank you so much. Hope to play with you sometime.
I hope so too.
All right. Until next time. I don't know what my outro is, but whatever it is, bye bye.